Come on down. I'm going to need 2 volunteers, and it's not hard. You don't have to lift any stones. We have 2 volunteers here anywhere? 2 volunteers. All right, it's easy. What I want you to do is take your hand, put it along the big stone, and when you get to the seat at the end, stop there. Yeah, right over there. Okay, come on down. All right, there she goes. We have 1 volunteer going to the left. And she's still walking and walking and walking and walking and stop. I need 1 more volunteer from our group. It's easy. Do we have another volunteer there? Okay. Can you do the same thing on the right-hand side? Take a short walk. Walk along the big stone. When you feel a seam, stop. Okay, so come on down. We have, oh, give up that blinding light. We have 2 volunteers on both sides of the biggest stone in the Temple Mount. Thank you. We are now standing right in front of the Western Wall. This is the Western Wall right in back of me. And we have 2 volunteers at the biggest stone on both sides, the biggest stone in the Temple Mount. This stone is 40 feet long. It is 10 feet high and 12 feet deep. That's 13.5 meters long, 3.5 meters high, and 4.5 meters deep. This is a great stone. Our volunteers can come back. Thank you so much. Now, an average stone in the Western Wall next to me weighed 2.5 tons. Would anybody in our group like to make an estimate? How many tons do you think this could have weighed? I'll take any number.
80.
80 tons. Well, that's good for starters, but it's much more. 80 going once, going twice. Do I hear more? 200 tons. We're getting warmer, but we're not there yet. 330. All right, we're making waves. We're not there yet.
800.
Ah, you just tipped the scale. What about 600 tons? 600 tons is approximately the weight of 2 cargo planes. And there is almost no machinery in the world today that can lift in one go 600 tons. If we would move this stone today, we would break it into fragments, move each piece, and reassemble it. Which brings us to our next question. How? How did they do it? And even more amazing, this is not the floor of the Western Wall right here. Here the Western Wall goes down, 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 down to the bedrock of the mountain, at least another 12 rows of stone down. That means that not only did they bring the stone here, they lifted it up and they placed it in the wall. This is mind-boggling. So the question is, how did they do it? Well, let's try to answer that question. Nobody knows for sure, but we do know how the Romans chiseled and lifted stones of heavy weights. Remember, there's a rise of the mountain in the north. They lifted the stones on pulleys and ropes, and they placed the stones either on flat wagons, and then oxen can pull the wagons, or they lifted the stone and put it down on cylinders or logs, and then they could pull the stone over the logs, and the stone would roll. Or they lifted the stone, put wooden wheels around it, and then oxen pulled the wheels with the stone in the middle. Now picture, if that's what they did for 2.5 tons, picture 600 tons. How many pulleys, how many wheels, how many cylinders, how many logs, how many oxen, how much power was needed to move the stone, and lift it up and place it in the wall. This is quite remarkable. Now, something else about the Western Wall. The walls of the Temple Mount were not glued together. These walls are a drywall construction. One heavy stone on top of the next. No cement and no mortar glues these stones together. And not only that, but the walls of the Temple Mount are recessed like a pyramid. They are actually a little bit wider at the bottom and slowly narrow as they rise. There's about a 1-inch gap, about 4 centimeters of a difference between every row of stones as it goes down. It gives a little bit of a pyramid look. It's very nice. And you can imagine, Herod was a great builder. He wanted things to be beautiful. Every stone was chiseled out with a picture frame. Can everybody see a border frame around the stone? So Herod made a beautiful wall. But one thing we do see here is that there are holes inside the wall. Well, when the Muslims came, and in later periods, these were turned into water cisterns. But the Western Wall is not waterproof. This is limestone. It's a soft, porous stone. So, to make the basements waterproof, they made a secondary wall right in front. This secondary wall went all the way up to the top, and to connect the plaster to the Western Wall, they used stone joints. You can actually see some of the original joints jutting out of the wall. In other words, these basements were turned into water cisterns, but at the same time, the Western Wall was desecrated with all the holes that we see here today. Our group has finally reached the Western Wall. And from this point where we stand, all the way to the end, we are going to be walking along the wall. We are going to pass the fourth gateway. The previous rabbi of the Western Wall, Rabbi Yehuda Getz, made a beautiful synagogue above that gateway. It is the closest synagogue in the world to where the temple stood, and it is an active functioning synagogue. Our group is going to continue on this path. We're going to walk underneath the synagogue, and we will actually walk through the point that's closest to the Holy of Holies in the temple building. Now, we have an old custom here by the wall that people put wishes, prayer requests inside the wall. So if any of you have a little note ready and you want to write a prayer request, that's a great place to put a note. If any of you have a personal prayer, that's an opportunity. We're going to walk through that area and we'll meet on the other side. So follow me and we continue.
Menakim.
Thank you.